The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. This is the show where each week you will find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're starting off the show with Frances Duberstein.
Hi, Susie.
Hi there. She's the Development Coordinator for Aloha House, Inc., Maui Youth and Family Services, Malama Family Recovery Center. This is the
three-headed monster.
I guess somebody in your office must call it that from time to time.
I do.
You do, okay.
I do.
Let's see, is that good that the development thinks of it as a monster?
No. Monsters can do things for the benefit of the community, too.
That's true. Sometimes better.
Yes.
Yeah. And today we're going to start off talking about kind of an enhanced program that Malama Family Recovery Center is providing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on today. I always love coming and catching up and tell you about what's going on with our tri-agency. So Malama Family Recovery Center, it's one of the three under our umbrella. It's the only women-specific addiction treatment center on Maui, and it's the only place where young children and infants can live with their mothers in therapeutic and sober living settings. So let me just lay that out. And so we've always been doing, parenting training, developmental screenings with our clients' children. But now we have this opportunity, thanks to a grant from the Hawaii Children's Trust Fund, to really focus on preventing child abuse and neglect through enhanced programming, our mother-child program. And we're really excited because, like I said, it's not completely new. It's using some things we were doing, but it's looking at it from the angle of preventing child abuse and neglect.
Interesting. And I think before the show we talked just a little bit about some of the criteria for being in this program. And you said, I think, that the focus was on younger mothers.
Younger than 29 and younger, yes.
Go ahead.
That's okay, with children who are 5 years old and younger.
Okay.
So that's not to say that if a woman comes to us and they're over 29 years old or they have a child older than 5, we're going to turn them away. It's more for the purpose of our outreach, just maybe targeting it a little bit different, but also for evaluation purposes, keeping track of how things are going when it comes to these grant activities.
Okay, now to back up just a step, you were saying that this is not a new program, it's just enhancing this program. To be in the Malama Family...
Malama Family Recovery Center.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're coming out of a situation in a household that's not working.
Yes, or you're coming from the street.
Okay.
Or a homeless shelter, or you're a woman... a mother who has just given birth and your baby has tested positive for drugs or alcohol, and the only way you have any chance of keeping your child is to enter treatment at Malama, and that's where we put priority is on mothers, especially pregnant mothers or mothers who have just given birth, so they can come live at Malama and their baby can come and stay with them as well.
Okay, so the mother's recovering. And so is the child at this point?
Yes. Well, if a child is born and they've tested positive for drugs or alcohol exposure, yes, they are absolutely in recovery. We help the moms figure out, how to sort of detect signs of any consequences of that drug or alcohol use, how to mitigate those over the years, who they can reach out to in the community. But even if a woman comes in and she has a child that's not a newborn baby, they're coming from environments that are hectic, that are not healthy, and we know that parental substance abuse is a risk factor for child abuse and neglect. So we consider ourselves to be have a unique opportunity to combine comprehensive and effective addiction treatment with mother-child related activities in order to improve and support the entire family's well-being.
Gotcha. Okay, so the mother's going through a whole program on her own in this setting as well, and as you said, it's the only place where mother and child can be together.
Yes.
And which is an important step, because other facilities, the mother might enter and be able to work through her issues, but then the child becomes another issue once she's released.
Exactly, and if the reunification is the ultimate goal, which it usually is, depending on the circumstances, if the mother gets sober and clean and goes through all those steps and then goes through our sober living program, and then they enter the quote unquote real world again, and all of a sudden they have their child back, that usually doesn't happen, because with Malama that really won't happen, because we start working with them on the reunification process from the beginning. But if you think about it, it wouldn't make sense, because there's so many stressors involved with caring for a child that can be triggers. And these women are learning how to live their lives in a completely different way, and that includes, how to set nap times, how to set feeding times. It's all so interrelated that it doesn't make a lot of sense to leave the child parenting skills to another time.
Right.
You should address them while they're in treatment.
Right. As I look at this picture, is this usually a first child for the mother?
It really does depend. I would say the majority of our clients have more than one child, and they could be entering treatment. This could be and then they could have the one child entering with them, or let's say they have another child because of age restrictions. What's great about this is because there's only so much physical room in our therapeutic living and sober living facilities, but the children that, let's say, are a little older than the age that we can take in with the mom, they can come and spend time with her in our early learning center or just in our facility. And so the parenting training that the mom's going through with one child can definitely be applied to her relationships with her other children.
I see. So the relationship can continue while she's in recovery center.
Exactly.
But it's just they're not staying overnight.
Yeah, and so sometimes if a woman is in a situation where there's a father figure who can take care of the child while she's in treatment, that would be a great option. Most of the time, that's just not an option. But we'll have women who come to us who have lost custody of their children, and we work with them through that reunification process, doing the supervised with child welfare services, helping with the supervised visits, sometimes the first overnight, unsupervised overnight, will be at Malama. And so we're playing we're being an advocate, providing rides to those meetings with the social worker, or if to meet with the child if it's not appropriate for them to come to Malama.
So you're talking about the entire, her life is wrapped up in this program.
Yes.
If she has any hope of getting her children back, she's got to work through it. Exactly. And with your help, and by bringing the children in, you can get a feel for how it's going.
Exactly. Yeah. There's we have staff there. Even if they're not directly working with that mother and child, they're still playing observer.
Right.
And so they might notice an interaction happen that client's caseworker or therapist doesn't notice, and they'll pass on the information. to the caseworker or to the therapist. But we have women who get services on an outpatient level too, and they are also going to be doing this, participating in this enhanced programming. So they don't, we only have so much room, and it is more ideal if the mother can live with us, but sometimes it's just not possible. So then the outpatient services kick in.
Right. Wow. It seems like such a heavy load that you've got trying to work this through with the mother and child, because whatever created this situation, I mean, why the mother took to drinking or drugs, whatever she's done, and what it has caused. I mean, traditionally we see when those things come into somebody's life, their whole life gets turned around.
Yes.
Their whole attitude about things changes. Their personality changes.
Yes.
And what you're trying to do is to kind of bring them back to who they were before.
Exactly.
Or better.
Or better, yeah. And that's why this parenting training is adding that in and enhancing it is so wonderful, because there's women who they might have kids from before and they never got any parenting training, and so this is an opportunity to participate in classes that they wouldn't have been otherwise able to. It's sad that that's what it took to get that, for them to have to come to Malama, but it's really a comprehensive approach, and it's helping them get back to where they were before or better.
Right.
And same with the children. We see so much with our clients that they suffered abuse and neglect when they were children, and more times than not that contributes to their drug and alcohol use. So by getting them clean and sober so that they can be a better parent, then we can stop the cycle so their children don't carry it on, but also if a child has experienced trauma because of being around that, making sure they're getting the help they need, or if they are exhibiting some signs of developmental slowness, I guess you would say, we do those screenings and then refer to places like MUA Family Services. So that's another type of service that if it weren't for Malama, these women and their children wouldn't be getting that. It's sad that sometimes that's what it takes, but sometimes you have to hit rock bottom really hard,
right,
in order for you to not just get better, but your family as well.
Right. Boy, that sounds like a yeoman's job here that you're doing.
Let me just say, it's not me personally, because I don't work every day with the clients. It's the unbelievably caring, compassionate, dedicated staff at Malama Family Recovery Center, led by Dr. Lisa Ponick-Terra. They have an amazing team there. I mean, I go to visit, I pop in because my physical office is in a different location, and there'll be babies crawling around or babies crying, and to them, that's just another day. And it just amazes me that, they'll be working on a report and then they say, they have to jump up and go, I need to hold this baby while the mom is changing in the bathroom or something. It's incredible what they're doing every day there.
They know the needs.
Yes.
And they're there to take care of them, whatever, big or small.
Yeah, and to let the women know that they're not being judged. You're not a bad person.
Right.
You're getting help. We believe that you can get better. There is hope.
Right.
Because a lot of these women have faced a lot of criticism to their face in their lives. So this is a safe place for them to get better and not feel like they're being constantly judged.
Interesting. Now, traditionally, I mean, there's probably no way to say how long treatment will last for any individual, because it's a matter of how quickly they turn around. But on average, is there some time frame that makes sense?
Okay, so we have a few different programs there, and so it depends on the program. We have our highest level of care. It's called the Therapeutic Living Program, and women can live there. I would say the average is 4 to 6 months that they're living in the Therapeutic Living Program there with their children. That's at our main facility in Kahului. That's where our Early Learning Center is. So that's usually about 4 to 6 months, I would say, average.
Okay.
Then considered a step down from that is the sober living program to serve as that transition before they go out back into the, I always say, quote unquote, real world. The real world. And there's women who will need to be in the sober living home. Again, their children can live with them there for 6 months, up to sometimes a year.
Oh, really?
It can take a little while, and then a lot of them will continue with outpatient treatment even after they've left sober living.
Right.
Sober living. So
and that's just a follow-up to make sure it's working okay.
Well, if you're in sober living, you're required to participate in outpatient and to finish that program. But after that, there's women who will pop in. Maybe they're having a bad day. They feel like they might be about to relapse. And there's an open door policy, Malama. Come talk to us.
Right.
We'll help you out. So that sort of gives an idea.
Gotcha.
A woman might just do outpatient treatment, and that maybe might take 6 months or less. But then if everything doesn't get dealt with, she can always come back and get help.
Oh, I see. Okay. On that note, we got to take a short break. We'll be
great.
right back with the Malama Family Recovery Center.
Yes.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit. Hello. Get on the right page, Susie. Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our various executive directors and their staff to find out what they are doing in the community within they work. And today we're talking with Frances Duberstein of the Maui Family Recovery Center.
Malama.
Malama. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah. I took two lines and read them together.
Yeah.
Malama Family Recovery Center, which is one of the tri-agencies. Is that under Aloha House?
The actual umbrella term is Maui Behavioral Health Resources.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
But no one's really heard of that, so we still refer to, we still list out each agency. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Well, that'd be a whole new marketing campaign. So you've got bigger priorities than what name they call you.
Yeah, but it's
doing the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're talking about mothers recovering and children who are at risk for abuse from those mothers without this program. Mm-hmm. The issue I think that a lot of people are concerned about is the follow-through. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the mothers have done their work and have basically recovered to the point where the agency is satisfied that they can go out now and try to exist in the real world, as we call it. But there's follow-up with her as well once she's released. And then as far as how the child is being treated, is there a follow-up situation there too, so that you know if this has helped?
Yes. Well, the part of the follow-up process is not just checking on the mom or the woman, it's checking on her children through whether it's home visits or talking on the phone. So yes, there's a lot of follow-through because it's not just treating the mother, it's treating her children as well.
Right. And it's to me, I keep thinking about, okay, they've gone through the process, and we know a lot of people have gone through the process, but how often does it really work? I mean, can you, I'm not asking for a percentage or anything like that, because there's no such thing, I don't think, that you can say somebody 100% they're good to go.
Yeah.
You hope for the best, you've done the best you can, and like you say, they can come back.
Yeah, well, with addiction, relapse is very common. It's more common than not. But I think that the message that we're trying to get across to these women is, if you relapse, it's not the end of the world. You can still get up and keep moving forward. If you have this mindset that if I relapse, it's all over, there's nothing more, then I think that would be incredibly stressful and difficult. They know that if they have a slip up, they can come back to us. Sometimes, like I said, Dr. Lisa Poniktera, the clinical director at Malama, will just invite a former client into her office who just popped in to just sort of say, I need to talk to someone. Or Donna Lucera is another amazing therapist who's there. She'll do the same thing. So yes, relapse happens, and we do have clients who have been there more than once or more than twice, but we sort of think about it, relapse happens in a lot of diseases.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that progress isn't happening. It just means there's been a little bump in the road. But the important thing is the women know that there is this place for them.
Well, I think the fact that they come back tells you that they realize this is helping.
Yes.
This is not just a program. Once you get through it, you're done, you're gone, goodbye. But that it really helped them. And as you say, a bump in the road, a bad day, bad news from someplace.
All sorts of triggers out there
can happen. And what you're trying to do is to make sure that whatever happens to mom isn't transferred to the child through abuse.
Yes, and let me just speak about that whole follow-up process. An important part of our services is linking up clients with outside sober support resources like AA or NA, that once they leave us, they can continue having that supportive group around them, and that helps a lot. So they don't feel like, okay, now I'm all on my own. But even if someone decided AA or NA was not for them, they do still have us. But back to what you're saying, yes, I mean, what happens with the mom has a huge impact on the child, how they grow up, how they feel, how they develop mentally, emotionally, cognitively, physically, all those different ways. So you want to make sure that if there are any issues going on, that we detect those and get those addressed. But a lot of times, even a parent who's not dealing with drug or alcohol abuse could use a parenting training. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But I imagine a lot of parents would say, yeah, I would love some tips and advice. And what's really cool about this enhanced programming is we're starting to use something called the Incredible Years Curriculum, which focuses on strengthening parent-child interactions and attachment, reducing harsh discipline, and fostering parents' ability to promote children's social, emotional, and language development. So it's a proven program that we just feel is perfect for our target population.
Gotcha. It's, again, thinking about the child, you mentioned that you basically go up to the age of 8. Sometimes you go older depending on situations and circumstances. But a child who's in that 6, 7, 8-year-old category has already started to pick up on some of these things that are going on with mom, haven't they?
Yes, and probably even younger, they're starting to pick up on it, and they're just acting out. They might not be verbally saying it, but they're acting out in a way that's a direct result of the environment they have been around, the chaos or the negativity. But that's okay, because if you recognize it and then work on it, that's okay.
Right. And well, it's actually a positive thing.
Yes,
because
exactly.
You can work on it because you're seeing it happen. Mm-hmm. If they didn't show any signs of it, that would be a strange situation.
Probably, yeah. You would think that maybe they. Well, each child is so different, and there, I'm sure there's children in there that act just as normal as any other kid out on the street with any other parent. But because we're doing the parenting training, stuff that could come up in the future, or maybe stuff they're just not being open with now, can be prevented from happening in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's this whole, the comprehensive program just makes so much sense. Rather than treating mom, the kids aren't there, you don't know what's going on between mom and the kids. Mm-hmm. Mom's certainly probably not, that was a bad statement, certainly probably not, going to tell you, well, yeah, when I get really upset, I hit the kid, or I, put them in a room by themselves for hours, or whatever form of punishment they consider. Mm-hmm. And it's not, they're not considering it punishment, they just want them out of the way.
Or they don't know any different, that's how they were raised. And,
right.
Until someone, it might sound logical, but until someone really points out to them, and when they come to us and they're not sober and clean, that they're not thinking clearly.
Right.
So we gotta get them thinking clearly. And then when you are really stressing to them the impact, you might think it's not a big deal to give them a smack on the hand or bottom or something, but here are other ways to deal with it, because a lot of the moms that I've heard talking, they'll say, I realize that that not saying they are not taking responsibility for their drug or alcohol use, but I've heard a lot say, I didn't realize that my experiences as a child largely contributed to what I'm doing today. I felt I had suppressed it, and now I'm actually talking about it. So it's letting them know that these are the consequences of how you parent your child, and here are better ways.
Right. Interesting. And excuse me, I think that what you're saying makes a lot of sense when you think about how we're raised. And a lot of times, once you get out of that family setting, you meet other people and you find out how other people have been raised and how they live. And you say, hey, that's a pretty cool life. I want to live like that. And you just kind of transition into that if you're able. But if something goes wrong, the only frame of reference you have is that previous life.
Exactly.
And so if you were abused, the cycle continues. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're trying to break with this program and with this style of honoring the mother and trying to help her become sober and clean. And through that, allowing the child to grow up in a sober, clean household.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's called a family recovery center for a reason. The childhood services stemmed from we noticed that that access to child care is one of the biggest barriers to treatment and long-term recovery and health. So we began offering, this is years back, free child care for our clients' children while the clients were in treatment sessions and things like that. So that wouldn't be a reason that they didn't come in for an hour or two therapy session. They know their kids are safe and well cared for. And then that really grew over time to where we were really noticing that a lot of these kids, or some of these kids, were showing developmental delays. So while we have them here, let's do these screenings and figure out now so that those can be addressed. Right. So it stemmed from the simple concept of where can the child be and be in a safe place during treatment to our early learning center, how it is now, where it's not just a physical place where they are, it's a place where they have opportunities to engage in the parenting training, the developmental screenings, and all those full family activities.
Right. Now, you also said earlier that sometimes there's one or two children that come with the mother to stay there, but because of age or lack of space, the older children may not. But they are invited into some of the sessions that you work when you're working with mom.
Yes.
And so they actually become a part of the program as well.
Yes, they do. It's not like because they're not sleeping there, they're shunned or they're not allowed to come in. No, not at all. They get to be a part of the process as well. It's just, unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to take every child, and we do have to put, unfortunately, restrictions on how many children a mother can bring in. But we very actively work with her to make sure that those other children are in a safe place.
Right.
If they're not staying with her.
If when they come in, are you also kind of looking them over and looking for signs of issues that will show up later on in their lives?
The kids that are not living there,
Right.
but yes. Yeah, because as I said, that you learn a lot by observing the
Right.
interactions. And the ages and stages questionnaires that we use for our developmental screenings, those are really meant for like children 5 and younger, but that doesn't mean that that you can't tell things about children who are a little bit older. So yes, if we notice that a child who's 9 or 10 and they're spending time with their mom there at Malama, that let's say the child, something definitely seems to be off with the child in terms of their development, we will still make sure they know, the mom knows where they can get outside help, like a MUA Family Services or things like that.
Right. Excuse me.
Oh, yes.
So, I'm in awe of this program. I can't say enough good about it. Are these people referred to you, or do they come in on their own? How does the initial step?
It's a mix.
Okay.
We're getting more and more referrals from OBGYNs when they get women who come to them who are pregnant, and there seems to be some substance use going on. That's part of our Baby Safe program, substance abuse free environment that's connected with this mother-child program. Women will be referred by other types of doctors, or they will just reach out to us. Sometimes we'll get a call, I'm dealing with XYZ, I need help. Sometimes, like I said, a woman will give birth at the hospital and her baby will test positive, and then we get a call because the only way for the baby to stay with the mom is to come to Malama. There are some women who come to us directly from jail, and I think that sometimes when people hear that, they think, oh, well, they're only going there because they have to go there. Well, they still have to go through the program, and if we have the attitude that, oh, they're only here because they have to be, then they're not going to get the same amount of or the same type, I think, of services as anyone else. And a lot of times it's women who come from the worst that they really have hit bottom, and they are most in need of help. So it's a mix of where people are coming from.
I see. Okay. And we mentioned earlier that the program can run in the different phases, 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half, and then they can come back at any time if they feel the need.
Yeah.
And that's encouraged, I would think.
Yes, it very much is. Recovery it's a lifelong thing. And so we want them to know that, we are there for them no matter what. And they are. I've been at Malama when, a former client has dropped in because sometimes they just want to say, hey, I just wanted to say hi, because for them, Malama is such an important part of their life. And for when our staff will remember them and see them, and they'll be so excited. It's so heartwarming. And the staff will get like Christmas cards or little thank yous from the moms or from the kids or from the children, and so it's the staff sometimes becomes like uncle or aunties to these children,
right,
over for the long term.
Right. That's when it's really heartwarming. It's worked, it's working, and that should something happen in their lives, they'd come to you first.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we got to take another break. How come you've got all these breaks? Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back, and we're talking story here today with Francis Duberstein, who's the development coordinator for Aloha House, Maui Youth and Family Services, and Malama Family Recovery Center. And we spent the first half of the show talking about the new program. It's not a new program, it's an enhanced program.
Yes.
I got to quit saying new. Enhanced program at the Malama Family Recovery Center. And if anyone is interested after hearing
Yes.
all that, do they call you? Do they email you? What?
Yeah, well, we
to find
do,
out more.
We do have the website, malamafamilyrecovery.org. And then my phone number is 808-579-8414, extension 8102. And that phone number is on the malamafamilyrecovery.org website. And I think the website does a pretty good idea, but anyone who has any questions or is wondering how they can help or contribute, just reach out to me.
Cool. That sounds easy.
And my name's Francis again.
Right.
Yeah.
Francis Duberstein. So now you've got kind of a new, it's an enhanced program again.
Yes, yeah, but with the twist, yeah.
Right. So tell us about this one.
Okay, so this is for agency number 2 we're talking about today. First we talked about Malama. Now we're going to talk about Maui Youth and Family Services, which helps at-risk youth as well as their families. We have adolescent substance abuse treatment, school-based substance abuse, emergency shelter, prevention programs. And we also have a program called the Independent Living Program, and that's for youth who have aged out of the state foster care system. And what we see is that they cannot, once they've aged out, they can't find a place to live that they can afford on Maui. That's not news to anyone. But so we've been dealing with this for a while because one of the things that our counselors in this independent living program work with the youth is try to work with them on independent living skills that you might not get if you're growing up in the foster care system. Well, it's hard to work on independent living skills if you're in a homeless shelter or you're camping in someone's backyard or you're couch surfing. So we've been dealing with this for a while. We were finding our youth just could not afford to find a place to live. And there's this private foundation called the Sangham Foundation. They're based on the mainland, and they've supported us in the past. And they came to us and with this opportunity. And what now it looks like is we are going to be actually opening a young adult housing facility for these youth who have aged out of the foster care system. And they're going to be able to live there at an affordable rate while they're either in school, working, or both. All of them, all of these clients in this program are in school, working, or both. They're going to be between 18 and 26 years old. And what's neat is we're using a facility that is already built. It's on the Maui Youth and Family Services campus, up country on Baldwin Avenue. It used to be used as a group home for runaway and at-risk teens. It was completely government funded, and for fiscal reasons, it was not viable in the long term. So now this Sangham Foundation is supporting our efforts to furnish this facility, do a minor kitchen renovation. The facility is over 3,600 square feet. It has a great common area, large kitchen, individual bedrooms, a couple different bathrooms. So it's really set up for this kind of purpose, but without this foundation, we wouldn't be able to make these changes. And so we've been working on these renovations and repairs since about April, and we're expecting move-in at the beginning of August.
Wow.
Yes.
So I'm sure there's a wait list for this.
Well,
or have you announced it yet?
Well, okay, so since it's only available to youth who are our clients, a lot of them know about it, and we actually have, I believe we have 3 youth who are already lined up to move in. One is 2 females and 1 male, and so there's not a waiting list because we still have 2 rooms that don't have occupants assigned yet. But what our staff is being really careful about is who gets to move in. If a client expresses interest, I would like to live in this facility, well, they have to submit a letter to staff outlining how they plan to budget for their monthly expenses and other daily living costs. We want to make sure that they would be compatible with the other kids, other young people, young adults living there. So I wouldn't say right now there's a waiting list, but I think once we get the place furnished and it looks as amazing as I know it's going to look, there's going to be even more interest. But we are keeping it to our clients because that way we are working hand in hand with them.
Right.
On so many of the different things that they need help with, whether it's applying for college scholarships, looking for a job, getting their driver's license, getting a birth certificate, the most basic things that if you've been in foster care, you never got a chance really.
It wasn't necessary. You didn't need them.
Exactly, or you had no clue how to do it.
Right. Now, the foster care basically takes youth up to 17 or 18 or someplace in that range.
Yeah.
And so the people who have been giving the care have to say goodbye. There's no option unless, they could adopt.
Yeah, exactly.
But if the child is that age, chances are they're not going to because they would have done it a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And they don't have family to go back to.
Exactly.
At this point. Whatever the situation was that caused them to go into foster care hasn't been resolved successfully.
Correct.
So that they can go back home.
Yeah.
Now, in some cases, or in many cases, I would think there's probably more than one child there's only one coming out at that age at a time. I answered my own question. Sometimes it's good to talk things through because it makes sense now. Okay. Uh-huh. So as they progress out of that, they could still be in high school.
They have to be 18 years old in order to live in this facility.
Okay,
but I guess
that's the edge.
Yeah. So I guess if someone, depending on when they were born.
Right.
But I think I don't think there's going to be many high schoolers.
Right. Okay. So this is like first-time job workers or seekers. Do they have to have a job to be able to come into this facility if they're that age?
They have to have. So, youth who age out of foster care are eligible for it's between $600 and $700 a month. I believe it's from the federal government, some sort of
the stipend.
Stipend. But that's, between $600 and $700 is not going to get you very far.
Right.
So, your question was, do they have to be working? Well, they have to be working at least part-time because they need to be bringing in more money than that.
Okay.
And then if they are in school full-time, they qualify for other federal grants and things like that. But we wouldn't, I don't think we would let someone who doesn't, if someone's in school full-time and they can only work a few hours a week, then that would be fine, I would imagine. But they have to have some sort of long-term sustainable way to cover their monthly living expenses.
Right.
So, I do know that all of our youth in this program are either in school working or both. A lot of them are both because during the summer, they can work
Sure.
full time, and then once school starts again, then they go to part time, or they simply cannot afford to. They have to go to school part time and work part time. That's
Right.
just financially how it works.
So part of the encouragement of this whole thing is to get a job.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it may be the very first job they've ever had.
But it's
But it's a starting point.
exactly.
And if like you say, they're going to school part-time, hopefully over the course of the next few years, they're going to build up more and more hours of school time and figure out who they want to be.
Yeah. Yes.
What they want to do.
And you can't do that if every day you're trying to figure out where am I gonna sleep tonight.
Right. We know that not having a roof over your head is the biggest detriment to growing up there is.
Yeah, if that's your biggest worry, then it's very difficult to think about, okay, what are some career things I'm interested in, or what's a long-term plan for my education. So it's getting this facility will help them get their basic needs met and make it so our counselors can work on them with those daily living skills, like doing the laundry or cooking. Or we have clients who love cooking, but they don't have anywhere to cook. They don't, they use a hot plate at a homeless shelter or something. And I think that a couple of them had said how excited they are about the idea they might get to actually make themselves a meal. and so our counselors are just as excited about this as we are and as the youth are, because now they feel like that basic need is going to be met. They're going to be in a safe place, that they are contributing. The clients are contributing monthly to the cost of living there, so it's not a free ride, but it gives them something, one less thing off their plate, so they can concentrate on figuring out their life as an 18 to 26-year-old is doing.
Right. And then the 26 is the max.
Is
the
yeah,
age.
Yeah.
So, but somebody could be that. Well, hopefully they've gotten to the point where they don't need to live there at a certain point, whether it's 2 or 3 years down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we haven't had move-in yet, so
Right.
we're kind of see how this develops.
Right. What an interesting concept.
Yeah, let me just tell you a little bit more about this facility, because we wanted to have a new name, and so one of our counselors, her mom is a Hawaiian cultural practitioner, and she heard about the project and visited the facility, and she decided to name the building after thinking about it and things like that. She named it Kalevanu'u. And this means rise high. It comes from the chant. Let me look this up real quick, because it comes from a specific Hawaiian chant, and I just want to tell you what that is in it, because it helped her think of the name of the. Let's see. So it's found in the Hawaiian chant E Ala E, which means arise or awaken, and it has reference to the rising of the sun each new day. So Kalalewa means rise high. It's from this chant. So one thing, the description that this Hawaiian cultural practitioner gave to us, her name's Maui Biga. She's an amazing woman. She said, anytime we learn something new, we grow. The more we learn, the more we know, and the more we grow. The more we grow, the higher we rise. Moving up, moving forward, and moving ahead helps us improve, learn, and achieve our goals. The meaning within Kalevanu'u is to make a new change and achieve new heights.
Interesting.
So the building is going to be called Kalevanu'u. This program is called Kalevanu'u, and the fact that we were able to incorporate those Hawaiian meanings into it is so important.
Right. And it says it all.
Yes, it does. And let me just say, so it wouldn't be possible. This wouldn't be happening if it weren't for the Sangam Foundation, as well as support from the Central Pacific Bank Foundation and the Hawaii Community Foundation. So it's really amazing to see how these different funders are coming together for this huge to help deal with what's really a huge problem. I mean, homelessness is a hot topic these days.
Right.
And when you add in the fact that someone is aged out of the foster care system, the likelihood of them being homeless is so much higher. So this is one way we are combating that.
Wow, that, I never thought about that. And I'm sure I'm not out of the ordinary here in that comment, because you think of foster care. Okay, that's fine. They're in foster care. But yeah, what happens as they become young adults? The door gets opened, they walk out, and it gets closed behind them. Mm-hmm. It's over. It's done. And if they've not had some of these special trainings or access to some of this education, some of these educational ideas, what do? Yeah, you're right. They're on the beach or they're at a friend's house on the couch, just kind of waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And as we know, things don't just happen. You have to make them happen.
Yeah.
And so Ka'alewanui sounds like the place to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. I believe the latest statistic I heard was up to approximately 40% of youth who age out of foster care end up homeless within about a year, I think.
Oh, wow.
So it is, when you talk about youth who are disadvantaged, who are vulnerable, need some extra help, this is it. And we're just so excited that we're going to be able to offer this opportunity, because it's more than a bed. For some of these youth, this will be the first time they'll be, well, not their first time in a bed, but because when they were in foster care, they had beds, but their first time having their own room. The first time where they, since they've left the foster care system, that they can say, I know where I'm sleeping tonight.
Right.
And it's a safe place. It's a place with a door.
And with your program, they're going to learn how to be responsible young adults.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of rules
True.
that go with living in this facility, but that's part of becoming an adult as is learning how to, live with other people, take responsibility, and take responsibility for your actions. And
boy, what a fabulous concept you've got going. We're going to have you back after you're open 6 months or so and see how it's going.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Well, this is Maui Nonprofit Notes here. Today we've been talking with Frances Duberstein. We've talked about a program through Maui Youth and Family Services and Malama Family Recovery Center. And give Frances a call at 579-8414, extension 8102, to find out more information on either one of these programs. Thank you, Frances.
Thank you so much, Susie. The hour just flew by.
It always does. It does. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies and take a look at those agencies. If you see one there that you're interested in learning more about, go to their website and check them out or give them a call. Next week, we're going to talk with two other agencies of our nonprofit directors organization and find out what they're doing. Again, today we visited with Frances Duberstein, who's the development coordinator for the tri-agency organization that we've been talking about. Mahalo for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, same place. KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, 96.5 FM on the west side, and 98.7 up country. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.